Missing jet was carrying highly flammable lithium batteries. CEO of Malaysian Airlines finally admits to dangerous cargo 4 days after denying it. When asked days ago, he said it was carrying tons of mangosteens. Lithium-ion batteries have caused 140 mid-air incidents in last 20 years. The devices are commonly used in mobile phones and laptops classed as dangerous by the International Civil Aviation Organization. Reignites theory that missing flight may have crashed after onboard fire. Aviation experts said it reaffirmed belief that flames started in cargo hold. One cargo plane crashed in 2010 after attempting an emergency landing. Safety report said battery caught fire and filled the flight deck with smoke. Malaysian Airlines today confirmed that flight MH370 had been carrying highly flammable lithium-ion batteries in its cargo hold, reigniting speculation that a fire may have caused its disappearance. The admission by CEO Ahmad Jauhari comes 4 days after he denied the aircraft was carrying any dangerous items and nearly 2 weeks after the plane went missing. He said the authorities were investigating the cargo, but did not regard the batteries as hazardous despite the law dictating they are classed as such because they were packaged according to safety regulations. The revelation has thrown the spotlight back on the theory that the Boeing 77 May 7 have been overcome by a fire, rendering the crew and passengers unconscious after inhaling toxic fumes. Lithium-ion batteries, which are used in mobile phones and laptops, have been responsible for a number of fires on planes and have even brought aircraft down in recent years. In rare cases, aircraft have been destroyed as a result of fires started from the devices, although they have been cargo planes in both incidents. In one case, UPS Airlines Flight 6 crashed while attempting an emergency landing in September 2010, en route from Dubai to Cologne, Indiana, Germany. Flight MH370 disappeared from radar screens 2 weeks ago on March 8 after taking off from Kuala Lumpur bound for Beijing. The second day of a new search, concentrating on a desolate area in the southern Indian Ocean, failed to locate 2 possible pieces of debris from the Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777. Aircraft and ships scoured the seas around 2,500 kilometers off the coast of the Australian city of Perth, for 10 hours before darkness fell. Australian officials have vowed to continue the search tomorrow. Billy Vincent, the former head of security for the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, said the revelation reaffirmed his belief that flames started in the cargo hold, destroying the aircraft's communication systems, then filling the cabin with toxic fumes. This, he says, would have overwhelmed the passengers but may have given the pilots a chance to divert the aircraft for an emergency landing. He told Air Traffic Management the data released thus far most likely points to a problem with hazardous materials. This scenario begins with the eruption of hazardous materials within the cargo hold, either improperly packaged or illegally shipped or both. It is thought the missing plane climbed to 45,000 feet, a move Mr. Vincent believes may have resulted from the pilots not being able to see the controls properly. Responding to a question at a press conference in Kuala Lumpur, Mr. Jauhari said, "We carried some lithium-ion small batteries. They are not big batteries and they are basically approved under the International Civil Aviation Organization under dangerous goods. The lithium-ion batteries are not dangerous goods per Southeast, but in terms of they are being declared as dangerous goods under ICAO." He insisted they were checked several times to ensure they complied with the guidelines. Airlines do that all the time, it is not just Malaysia Airlines. These goods are being flown by many airlines as cargo anyway, which is based on ICAO's ruling, he added. When asked earlier this week if there was hazardous cargo on board, Mr. Jauhari said no, adding that it was carrying 3 to 4 tons of mangosteens. The United Arab Emirates General Civil Aviation Authority blamed the crash, which killed the crew, on the batteries which it believed may have auto-ignited and filled the flight deck with smoke. The batteries have also caused problems in the cabin, including a flight attendant and 2 passengers who were burned when they handled a mobile phone and spare battery in September 2012. 6 months earlier, a lithium battery caught fire inside one passenger's personal air purifier. The incident prompted the ICAO to introduce a new rule last year stating that any cargo with more than 2 lithium-ion batteries be packaged under hazardous goods regulations. Malaysia Airlines has not responded to a call from Mail Online. Today the transcript of the last communication between the flight deck of the missing plane and ground control emerged. The final 54 minutes of dialogue between Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah, co-pilot Fariq Abdul Hamid and air traffic controllers is captured from takeoff until the moment Hamid uttered the last message, "All right, good night." 2 minutes later the plane's transponder was disabled. The transcript shows the moment the plane took an unexpected turn west, over North Malaysia, coincided with the point at which air traffic controllers in Kuala Lumpur handed over to their Vietnamese colleagues in Ho Chi Minh City. Former British Airways pilot Stephen Boustegan told The Telegraph, if he was planning to steal an aeroplane, that would be the moment to choose. He said, there might be a bit of dead space between the air traffic controllers. It was the only time during the flight they would maybe not have been able to be seen from the ground. From the first sign-in at 12:36 a.m. local time, when the plane was on the ground in Kuala Lumpur, co-pilot Hamid gave regular and routine updates, alerting air traffic controllers to the plane's location, ascent and altitude. The communication up until the plane went to the changeover to Vietnam sounds totally normal, Mr. Boustegan said. I've done it hundreds of times. It is perfectly normal. Search planes today scoured a remote patch of the Indian Ocean but came back empty-handed after a 10-hour mission looking for any sign of the missing Malaysia Airlines jet. Australian officials pledged to continue the search for 2 large objects spotted by a satellite earlier this week, which had raised hopes that the 2-week hunt for the Boeing 777 that disappeared March 8 with 239 people on board was nearing a breakthrough. But Australia's acting Prime Minister, Warren Truss, tamped down expectations. Something that was floating on the sea that long ago may no longer be floating, it may have slipped to the bottom, he said. It's also certain that any debris or other material would have moved a significant distance over that time, potentially hundreds of kilometers. Aircraft and ships from China headed to the desolate southern Indian Ocean to join the new search for the Malaysia Airlines flight, which disappeared into the ether 2 weeks ago. A satellite spotted 2 large objects in the area earlier this week, raising hopes of finding the Boeing 777 that vanished on March 8 with 239 passengers and crew on board. Surveillance planes have been scouring the area about 2,500 kilometers southwest of the Australian city of Perth, the size of the English Channel. But after 10 hours the second day of the search proved unsuccessful. Australian officials pledged to continue the effort, even as they tried to tamp down expectations. It's about the most inaccessible spot that you could imagine on the face of the earth, but if there is anything down there, we will find it, Prime Minister Tony Abbott said at a news conference in Papua New Guinea. We owe it to the families and the friends and the loved ones of the almost 240 people on flight MH370 to do everything we can to try to resolve what is as yet an extraordinary riddle, he added. 2 Chinese aircraft are expected to arrive in Perth on Saturday to join the search. They will be followed by 2 Japanese aircraft on Sunday. In Kuala Lumpur, where the plane took off for Beijing, Malaysian Defence Minister Hishamuddin Hussein thanked the more than 24 countries involved in the overall search that stretches from Kazakhstan in Central Asia to the southern Indian Ocean. He called the whole process a long haul. The search area indicated by the satellite images in the southern Indian Ocean is a 4-hour round-trip flight from Western Australia, leaving planes with only enough fuel to search for about 2 hours. The images were taken March 16, but the search in the area did not start until Thursday because it took time to analyze them.